Hi everybody, this is Pam with Jesus Junk Journals, and we're going to go on with the Joy Journal, and today I'm going to do some work on the cover, and let's see what we can do. Come on with me. All right, so we're working on the Joy Journal. Hope you have joy. So I'm going to figure up this cover. I've got this, it's a pillow sham that I'm going to cut up for the cover on this. And so I need to figure out how big I want it to be. So I took my 3 signatures, and this is a very unscientific way to do it. This particular journal, I feel like I controlled myself on the contents. So I'm going to let it puff out a little bit just to kind of get an idea of what it'll probably do. And I think 2 inches may be enough. So I'm going to allow 2-inch spine to sew these two, because I'm going to do the blind hidden spine. So I'm going to do 2 inches on the spine. And then, okay, so after a little thought, I decided that what I'm going to do, instead of trying to cut it and leave a fringe around the edge, since it is a pillow sham, there are 2 layers of fabric. I'm going to cut a smaller dimension and just sew it. I'm going to use both sides of the pillow sham with a piece of felt in the middle. Turn it wrong side out, sew a seam around it, and then turn it back right side out and let that be the cover. I hope that's clear. So what I did is I cut a piece of felt first, just to kind of see if it was going to be big enough, and just kind of set these on it, let them kind of breathe. And it looks like there'd be enough room at the top and bottom, and looks like plenty at the ends. So I need to then just add a little bit for a seam. I'm going to just draw around this, square it up as best I can, and draw around this and cut through both sides of this pillow sham, and I'll have both pieces of fabrics. That's my latest plan. I'm going to go ahead and do that and sew it, and then I will be back and show you whether it worked or not. So, all right. Yeah, I thought I would come back on and just show you where I cut it. I cut it and just kind of left a little edge around for a seam. Just kind of free-handed it, which I'm sure would probably appall some people, but that's how I'm going to do it. So I reversed it, so the good side of this is on the inside, and put this felt on this side. So when I stitch it, turn it wrong side out, it should be right, but we'll find out. So I'll be right back. All right, so I stitched it, and I thought I'd come back over here and reverse it out and see if I did it right. And if I didn't, I will just edit this video or start over. You'll never know what happened. But I'm going to trim these corners, so when I turn them wrong side out, I won't have a bunch of bulk at the corner. Now this end, of course, I had to leave open so I could turn it wrong side out. And the felt is not really sewn on. I went around the edge, so what I do kind of need to pin that, I think, to hold it to the one piece of the fabric, so when I reverse it, it doesn't flop and make a mess. So I'm going to pin that in at least a couple of places, and it's tacked up there, so I think it'll stay. So let's see if this worked. All right, so far so good. I'm going to unpin the felt right there so I can finish. Take my folding bone, see if I can poke that corner out better. I don't need it to be sharp, but I don't want it to be completely rounded out either. Okay. All right, well, it doesn't look too bad. And I'm going to unpin the rest of this. Okay. All right. Not too bad. I could go and top stitch, like I could tuck this under and just top stitch the whole thing, or I could turn it under and hand stitch it with a blind stitch. And I think I'll do that. I think I'll just tuck it under here and do it a quick blind stitch and finish it off. And then let's see how this holds up to these 3 journal signatures. Might need to come over just a little bit. I think it's, yeah, I think it'll be okay. I think so. I think it'll be cute. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to turn the camera off and blind stitch this end, and then I'll be back for the next thing. Okay, I have to make a confession to you. I have got the cart before the horse on this. I sewed my signatures up, and I still wanted to put some sewn in pockets in. So I am not sure that I'm going to be able to do that with my sewing machine, because there's going to be a side right here that might be a little tricky. So I'm going to try it, but I just want to let you know that this is not ideal. Sorry about that. I should have done it first. So if you haven't done yours, be sure you put all your stitched pockets in before you bind your signatures. And then I'm going to sew some edges on. I've got this snippet roll, or however you want to call it, where I just took my scraps and sewed them to a piece of scrap fabric. And so I'm going to stitch that on the edge of a page. And then I have this scrap that I'm going to use as an edging. And this one's going to be a belly band. I've used that several times. And then I have a couple pockets that I have set aside that I'm going to put in. And this is, I did a video on this. I called it, I think, my Christmas tree tuck spot. So it's just basically 3 triangles that you stitch. I stitch the triangles and then stitch them together. And then when you glue it here and across the bottom of each triangle, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tuck spots. So I'm going to put that in. And so I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and see if I can get these pockets in. If not, I will have to take them apart and rebind them. So, I mean, that's not the end of the world, but I don't want to have to do that. And then I also have these little edges that go like this, and they're to tuck things in. So I'm going to put those in, one in each signature. And then I will come back and show you what I did. So I'm going to show you. I didn't have any trouble sewing these things in. It was not bad at all. I still need to tie the strings up, but I put a little piece of velvet there for a tab. And I sewed this lace onto the edge here, which I need to trim back here. And another velvet tab on this. It's kind of an irregular piece. I just left it that way. And this gave me the most trouble, but not because it was a bound signature, just because it's hard to kind of handle this stuff. So I sewed it and had to kind of re-sew at the bottom. But I got it on there. And let's see, what else did I sew? Oh, here's a lace pocket. So I just had to do it in 2 sections. I turned it around and fed it through the sewing machine like this and did this side, and then came back and did this one. So it was okay. And then on this one, another velvet tab and this edge. And I sewed this edge. It was kind of big, so I just let it stick out a little bit, and then I've got a little pocket here now that I could put stuff in. And I think, oh, and then I sewed this belly band here and here. And I think that was it. Okay, so I'm gonna let this video end here. If you like my video, click like, please, and think about subscribing. And I will see you on the next video, and I will pick up with some of these pockets that I talked about that I didn't get to. So I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.